Okay, so I'm curious to hear from you on this. What do you think people regret? Like, what do you think a young man should do to avoid regrets? Because I have ideas on this, and I'm curious to hear.
100%. I believe it comes down to the three main aspects, which is your health, your wealth, and relationships. So health, right? If you are a young man, there is no reason why you should not be physically healthy and look like you're in shape, like you're strong, like you work out, right? You get one body in this life. So if you don't do that, people might say, oh, I don't care about the gym, but you're not going to be able to look like what you can look like in your 20s and 30s, even 40s and onwards later in life, just because you neglected your health for, who knows, work. Maybe you neglected it for a girl. And so health is a big one. Wealth is obviously one of the biggest ones, right? Not taking that risk to pursue what you want to do, to start a business, to, like whatever thing you wanted to do to make more money versus working this 9 to 5 that you don't enjoy. If you don't take that risk, people will regret that. And the final thing is the relationships, right? I see so many people settle in their relationships. So it could be the first girl they meet, right? It's because they're scared. They have social anxiety. They don't approach that cute girl that they actually liked. And now they spend the next 5 years thinking, what if?
Friendships too.
Like
wasting a lot of time with the wrong friends who aren't aligned. I have a bit of a different view on this than you do. So it's actually would be considered part of your third one. And I would say that it's what's super important to cultivate at a young age is a healthy relationship with yourself. So when I was 17, 18, I was definitely way too harsh on myself. So I was way too harsh. I would fucking make myself study 15, 16 hours a day, thinking if I don't work this hard, I'm going to regret it. But in hindsight, I would have told myself, like, dude, the most important thing for you right now is to develop a healthy amount of self-love, self-respect, and self-belief. So I think for me, that's just number one. Like, I think the foundation really to avoid creating these regrets is not having this relationship with yourself where you hate yourself. Because what happens when a human being hates themselves, right? They start enacting and doing things that reflect that inner state. So in a lot of examples I've seen, it's people will in America with the college culture, people will hate themselves for not going to the right college, right? Which doesn't matter. And then they'll waste years of their lives pounding themselves for not going to the right school. Which is dude, just let go. It doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
Or pounding themselves for not getting the right grades. We know now, dude, when's the last fucking time you thought about your grades? You never think about it,
Never.
And I was a pretty good student too in high school. For whatever time I spent in college, I was studying honors physics, hard majors. Literally doesn't matter. You don't think about it. So I think step one to not having regrets is developing the self-love. Because if you develop the self-love, then by nature of loving yourself, I think these other things will come easy, right? If you love yourself, you're going to take care of your body, right? You're not going to look at yourself in the mirror and you'll look at your body. You'll look at the one body you have and you'll say, wow, this is a temple. I need to really take care of this. This is the body I have to take me through life. When it comes down to careers, you're not going to let yourself take on a career that's not the right fit. You're going to think, hey, let me just take the risk of starting the business I want to start, or let me go be a content creator. Let me try these things. You're going to give yourself permission to do these things, right? When you lack that confidence, when you lack that self-love, you're not going to give yourself permission to do any of those things, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm some dumb fuck. I'm going to go, I don't know, do this thing I don't want to. I can't do this.
This person has X, Y, and Z.
X, Y, Z, and you have self-limiting beliefs. I remember having that. I remember when I got into Y Combinator, and the biggest shock for me was oh, what the fuck? This whole time, I thought, I didn't go to the right schools. They're going to care about this. They're going to care about that. And it didn't fucking matter. It literally didn't matter. I remember getting into Y Combinator first try. We get the call from the YC partner. It's like, hey, you guys got in. You know, Milan, my co-founder. I was just like, what the fuck? That was a huge identity crisis for me. Because I remember at the time thinking, oh, wow. Like, I went all these years thinking I couldn't do this, achieve this goal, and I was just completely fucking wrong.
And it's the worldview that's created for you when you're young, because you're not able to think and create your own worldview of what's actually reality. And so what ends up happening is you have this worldview of what everyone else is telling you, your teachers, your parents, what your friends value, right? Which is grades. In high school, it's getting good grades to get to a good college, right? You're looking around at everyone. Come junior year of high school, everyone's applying. You're looking at your grades, your SAT scores, and you're stressed out, right?
It's a value system.
Exactly, right? And then, what was the other thing you just talked about? YC?
Yeah, getting into YC.
Exactly, right? Like, it's none of this stuff actually matters. The times I was stressed that I failed tests or, oh my God, I couldn't think twice about any of that. No one.
It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen so many people develop this just self-hate because they weren't getting what they want. And that self-hate it's just a vicious cycle where it snowballs over years and years and years. And then they convince themselves that they can't do anything in life. And they're basically crippled, right? They've crippled themselves into the system where it's like, no, actually, you know, if you're persistent, you keep going after a goal, you're probably going to get there if you're doing the right steps, right?
Yeah.
Like, one thing I've learned too is the outcome a lot of the times is almost guaranteed if you're taking the right steps. Like, if you're young and healthy and you're doing the right lifts at the gym 3-4 times a week, you're doing cardio, you're counting your calories, and you do that over a period of time, you're going to get fit. It's the same thing with business, right? If, you know, in the case of building a tech company, a tech startup, if you're talking to customers and building a product that they want and you're growing, adding on more customers, you're going to build a scaled business. That's just how it works. You know, I think it was probably the same for you and Info.